Hi, I'm Melissa and I'm an assistant buyer here at Rogers Gardens, and I'm here to talk to you today about creating your very own balcony garden space. So this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart because I am also limited to a balcony. So this is a great option if you live in an apartment and a balcony is all that you have. It's also a good option if maybe you have a second story on a house with a balcony that you want to green up a little bit and bring some nature to. I'm going to just walk through this process basically from start to finish, from buying your plants to bringing them home and planting them to actually maintaining your plants and caring for them afterwards. When selecting your plants, you have two main considerations, and that is your light availability and your watering requirements. So for light, there's kind of two different categories. There's partial sun and then there's full sun. It's a good idea to take a look at your balcony before you go out and select your plants to kind of see how much light you're getting. If it's 3 to 6 hours per day, that's going to be more of a partial light spot, and then if it's 6 hours, maybe even above 8 hours would be ideal, it's going to be a full sun location. And you're going to want to pick your plants based on those categories. So for your partial sun, I brought out a couple options of stuff that you guys can try. Begonias are an excellent choice for a partial light space. There's ones that have beautiful flowers on them that we have in the store right now, but we also have these fun, more foliage-based begonias that are a beautiful pop of color to your patio. You can also go for something with a little bit more of a statement flower, like these beautiful little azaleas that you can put maybe on a table or something that you have on your porch. And then if you want something bigger, I always love to recommend camellias. I have a really big camellia on my porch right now that just chugs out lots of beautiful blooms. And then it's also a good option to have as more of a hedge if you want to create kind of a screen on your balcony. And then for full sun, we have some different options. You can do like more of some near like herbs and veggies and stuff. Tomatoes are a great option for patio. It seems kind of crazy because they can get really big, but there are smaller varieties that you can put in a container on your patio or balcony and do totally fine. You can also do more of like your bedding plants that do good in full sun. And then I also just wanted to note the plumerias that we have in right now because they are absolutely stunning, and we have dwarf varieties of them, and they are just such a great option for balconies. They do really well in containers. They don't actually need a lot of water, which is surprising. So the second consideration for picking out your plants is your watering requirements. And that's really just based on what you're willing to give. If you're someone who goes on vacation a lot or you travel a lot for work, you may only be around like once, like you're only able to dedicate like once a week to really going out and watering your plants. Or if you're able to go out like a couple times a week and tend to them a lot and you're able to water them more frequently, then you can pick some other plants that might have higher water requirements. And then just another note for picking out your plants, I don't want you to feel like this is an all-inclusive list whatsoever. Come into the gardens, browse, pick out some plants that catch your eye, and then just come ask us if those would be a good choice for your balcony space. So the second step in creating your balcony space is actually planting and placing your plants out on your balcony. So this has lots of different options. I don't want you to think of your balcony as a restriction for this, but rather an opportunity to kind of express some of your creativity. Probably the easiest option to go with is just planted pots. And so it's really fun to do arrangements. I think this is a really space efficient way of planting your plants because you can like put so many different options in here and have it all in one container. So this little herb caddy has basically everything you would need for your kitchen for cooking all in one container, so it doesn't take up too much space. And this is a beautiful full sun container that has lots of pollinator plants in it, so you can attract your hummingbirds and your bees to your balcony space with just this one pot. So it's a really good space efficient way to bring your plants onto your balcony. But I don't want you guys to feel like you're restricted to pots. There's lots of other fun things that you can do on your balcony space. And a really interesting trend that's coming through is vertical gardening. So this is basically the idea of rather than expanding your garden outwards, you're going to start to stack your plants upwards to maximize that vertical space. And so you might use like a plant ladder to put a bunch of different pots and stuff up, or you might hang some stuff on the wall, include hanging baskets in your garden. So I got some options here for that. The woolly pockets is one of our favorites here at Rogers. So it's a really good way to just pop a bunch of plants in there. These can hold all kinds of different plants, and then you just put it right on your wall space. The only thing with these is you want to be a little bit careful about putting them against a wall that you're worried about some water damage, because the water will drain through this container, which is good for the plants, but not always good for the wall. So just make sure to be cognizant in where you're placing it on your balcony. And then I also have this lovely hanging basket. This is just all of the parts that you would need basically. So you have your cocoa liner, your wire basket. We also have the chains to hang them. And then you can create your very own basket to hang up above your balcony. Another thing to remember is to make use of this railing space. It's a really great way to anchor your plants down. The only thing that you have to remember with them is to not just place them right on top of the railing, because when it gets windy, they could topple right over down onto your neighbors below, and we don't want that to happen. So you have some options of how to avoid that. I love these railing planters. It has 2 notches in here so you can secure it to the railing, and it fits on railings of different sizes. You literally just plop it right on, and then it's secure on there so it's not going to just blow over, and you can fit all kinds of plants in there. Another option are the pot rings. So if you have a really beautiful decorative pot that you want to keep using but you're worried about it falling off of your railing on the balcony, you can just secure this right there, and that'll kind of anchor it down, and you can put your pot inside and then keep that space for your plants. So the final thing with planting your new plants is the physical act of actually planting them. It might seem simple, like I'm just going to bring them home, I'll put them in the pots, it'll be easy. But on your balcony space, it is a little tougher to keep things clean. You can't just brush things off into the dirt. So it does help to kind of plan ahead of time a little bit. It's really nice to lay down like a sheet or a tarp as a space for you to plant them, just so you can kind of make the mess in there and then clean it up really easily. Maybe keep a trash can or a broom nearby as you kind of plant, just in case you make a mess. If you have the option of maybe planting in a space downstairs like first, so it is in the dirt, that would be a good option, but just be careful not to make the arrangement too heavy to carry up the stairs, because that can be difficult as well. And I do just want to throw out there that we do have a complimentary potting station here at Rogers Gardens. I love the potting station. I can just leave the mess here and I don't have to worry about it, so I can just bring my arrangement back home and it's all ready to go, ready to be hung or put out on the balcony. So the final step in creating your balcony gardening space is actually just maintaining and caring for your garden. The first thing with this is watering your plants. Depending on your plant's needs, you're going to have to water them maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a week. Because they are in a container, they're going to probably need a little bit more water, especially in the summer heat, so just keep that in mind. Another thing with balcony gardening is you probably don't have a hookup for water, so just bring out the hose or set up a drip system or have the sprinklers, so that makes it a little more difficult. So just keep that in mind when you're kind of putting your plants out. I would recommend doing yourself a huge favor and getting a big old watering can, because you are going to have to make trips in and out of the house to water your plants. I've used like recycled milk jugs and stuff in the past and filled those up with water, but it ends up in like multiple trips in and out of the house. So with this one, you can just fill it right up. It's really easy. You can just make one trip out and get all of your plants watered. And then a tip with this, which might seem kind of weird, but you might imagine it's a little hard to fit this in the sink, so I would actually recommend taking this to the bathtub and filling it up there, because it'll fill up way faster and it's easy to fit in there, and it's just a way easier way to go. The other thing I want to note with watering is remembering your saucers, or just remembering your drainage in general and keeping that in mind. A lot of your containers will probably have holes in the bottom of the pots, so a saucer is going to help push that water. You don't want to be dripping down onto your neighbors all the time, because they probably won't love that. I know my neighbors haven't loved that in the past, so definitely invest in a saucer. They don't cost that much, and it's just going to help keep your porch nice and clean. It's going to protect your neighbors from the drip as well. Another consideration for maintenance of your plants is soil. So sometimes it's good to refresh the soil in your pot just with the top dressing of compost or worm castings. I have our Malibu's compost here, which is one of our favorites at Rogers Gardens. It's a great soil to just kind of add on the top, and that's going to give your plants some extra added nutrients. It's going to improve the water retention again in the soil. Basically, if the pot looks like it's just not holding water very well anymore, and it just looks a little dry, not very nutrient rich, just throw that on the top and it's going to help improve the plant's health a lot. And then the other thing is if your plant needs to be repotted, because you have everything in containers. Eventually they're going to need to go in bigger containers as they grow. A couple things to look out for is maybe roots growing out of the bottom of the pots. Maybe you see lots of exposed roots on the top. With some plants you can actually, it sounds a little scary, but you can actually take the plant out of the pot, look at the root ball. If you see more roots than soil, odds are is that it probably is going to need to be potted up. The other thing with plants is that sometimes their health will start to decline if they get too root bound. So if your plant's not doing well and you don't know why, you haven't changed anything in their care, odds are is it probably needs to go into a bigger pot. The final thing for maintaining your plants is to not forget the fertilizer. So I have a couple options here that are really great for balcony plants. BioLive is a great option. It's a granular organic fertilizer. It's basically like your all-purpose, so you can use it for basically anything, but it has this added addition of beneficial mycorrhizae, which is just a really nice healthy microbe to have in your soil. It helps the plant health a bunch, and it's just a great option to kind of sprinkle on the top. And then I also brought in the Sea Grow, which is one of our favorites for container gardening. It's a little bit stronger than your down-to-earth options, and it's water soluble, so it's really easy to just mix into your watering can and apply it that way, so it's just pretty simple to use. So in conclusion, I just want to reiterate that you shouldn't be looking at your balcony as an obstacle to your gardening, but as an opportunity to get really creative, try some new things, and make that into a green space. And we don't want you guys to be afraid to try new stuff, so I just want to bring up that we have a 3-year plant guarantee here at Rogers, so if there's something that you've been a little bit nervous about trying, come in, get the plant, give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, we'll give you credit for it and you can try it a different way or maybe try something else. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, and then you can subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and then you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Bye!